Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with the Coach on the Spartan Sports Network. And now, here's your host, Walt Fowler.
Thank you, Brad Sarno, voice of the Spartans. Our guest this week on Monday Morning Coffee with the Coach is Graham Brown, the longtime men's head soccer coach here at St. Thomas Aquinas College. And Graham, outstanding season. You got the playoffs coming up. A little win taken out of your sails. Maybe or maybe not. You tell me. Going into the playoffs with consecutive losses after having an excellent season up to that point.
Yeah, thanks, Wolf. It's been a good season. But the last two games, first game against Westchester, I mean, they're like top 10 in the country. It's a good game. We're winning 2-1 with 3 minutes left. Conceded 2 late goals, but by that stage of the game, we had a number of injuries. And obviously we knew we were in the playoffs, so our priority was to think about the playoffs. The Damon game was just total concentration on getting our players ready for the playoff game. So we, the full squad was used for that game, so we weren't really concerned about it, to be honest with you.
You rested a lot of players, and just looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a priority. The Westchester was a very hard game, and I came out of that game with 7 players injured, and I went into it with a couple injured, not major injuries, but niggly injuries, and another hard game. Up in Buffalo, would not have been what we needed. We could have been struggling for Wednesday, so the priority was the playoffs on Wednesday.
All right, so the record stands 10-5-1 for this season, 6-3 in conference play. You got the East Coast Conference semifinal coming up Wednesday at Mercy. Given the injuries, will you have your full complement of players? Is anybody going to be out, or is everybody set to go?
We're not too bad now, as I say. I mean, hopefully the weekend was good for rehab for a number of those players that we need. So a couple of niggly little injuries, and we're hoping over the next 36 hours or so that even those will clear up. So we should be pretty solid squad depth-wise.
What have you learned this season? From the start of the season, you had some great highlights, a 6-game winning streak. A couple of weeks ago, Nicholson, you pull him, he scores with 30 seconds left, gets the game-tying goal. Youssef scores in overtime, the golden goal. Just the highs and lows of the season. So what have you learned from day one to this point now?
Going into this, we had a good spring season last year, and we knew going into our season, if the new players coming in could really gel into the team and buy into the program, then we would have a bit of a chance this year, because as I say, our spring season was excellent. The work that the players put in was very good, and as it happens, a number of the young players coming in actually did pretty well. So that was a big bonus for us. We would have liked a couple of others to quickly adapt to college soccer a bit quicker than they now have, but that's college soccer for you. It is what it is. It's the same every year. But what have I learned? I learned there's a good squad here, a good team. They're all banned into everything, and they're working really hard, and that always gives you a chance, because we are one of the younger college programs age-wise in our conference. Our conference is quite old. A lot of the players are like 20, 21, 22, so it's always a challenge every year for to compete against those experienced players.
Going from high school, making the transition to college, what are some of those adjustments that you have to make that you say some players are capable of doing it, but some others maybe don't get on board or get it right away? What are the types of adjustments you have to make?
Well, the biggest adjustment, as I said earlier, was that they're now playing against experienced players. As I say, a lot of these players come in and they've been all different countries of the world, but they're 20, 21 and 22 years old, and they know how to play the referees, and they know how to get away with things. And the young freshmen coming in, they've never experienced that, and that's probably one of the biggest things. And then obviously the next one is the speed and strength of the college game is like so much different compared to their club and their high schools.
All right, let's talk about that heart of the season with that 6-game winning streak that you had. Wins over Washington at Venice, overtime, beat Queens College, Bridgeport. You had 3 shutouts in a row, Queens College, Bridgeport, Roberts Wesleyan, then the overtime win over NYIT, and winning at Malloy. And then finally the streak was snapped with the loss at LIU Post. But that 6-game winning streak, you guys showed a lot of great defense, obviously, with all those consecutive shutouts.
Yeah, but we've worked hard in that all season. Our philosophy is that you can win a game from 0-0 but you're chasing the game from 1-0 down. So that's been our philosophy all year. We've worked hard on that. We've lost a couple of players that we had coming in. We lost them pretty early on in the season, and they haven't come back into our program. But they were players we brought in to score goals for us. So it was a bit of a hurt for us. So that being said, our focus was on let's not concede, and let's have faith in our midfielders and forwards finding us a goal or two to try and win games, and that's the way it played out actually.
Maybe the ultimate highlight of the season was Nicholson scoring his first goal. Your goalkeeper, you pulled him, like I said, with 30 seconds left. You put him in the box. Just tell us your thoughts when you decided to do that, what you were thinking up to that point, and the immediate reaction for you and the team once he put it in the goal.
Well, I actually didn't make that decision. He made that decision himself, as a matter of fact.
Wow. Had
I seen him running up the field, I'd have probably shouted at him and told him to go back in the goal. But he just made that decision himself. I look, it's the way the game goes. Sometimes things happen and it works out for the best. I mean, it could have worked out the other way. They could have got the ball and shot it from their own half and scored. So it's done on TV, you see it all the time, but it's actually something I'm not a big fan of. So as I say, had I seen him, I'd have probably told him, no, get back in there.
Well, fortunately, it worked out. And like we said, George Yusuf got the game winner in extra time. Coming up, the playoff game against Mercy. Now, you play them September 15th. Came up on the short side, 1-0. What do you learn from that game?
It was a game we should have won. There was 9 minutes left when we had our centre midfield pair both get injured in the space of a minute, and with 10 minutes left, and I had to bring them off, and I put 2 young freshmen on, and unfortunately, as I say, the early part of the season as well, the 2 young lads, and they've actually come on pretty well now, and they're actually getting good playing time. I mean, I know they're good players, but I put them in a situation against one of the best teams in the country, and with my hands tied, there's nothing I could do, and that's where the goal came, right down the middle where the 2 boys were. So as I say, it's a good game. It'll be a close game. Mercy know it'll be a close game. I think the top 4 are all pretty even, to be honest with you. I think it's the closest even ways that the ECC has seen it for like 7-8 years. Even the teams in 5th and 6th were all pretty close as well. So it's it bodes well for the ECC. It shows that it's a tough conference, but I think any one of these 4 teams could win this. There's no doubt about it.
All right, exciting week coming up as you have the East Coast Conference semifinal playing at Mercy. That game is on Wednesday. The winner of that game will play the winner of Queens College LIU Post for the ECC Championship. Graham, congratulations on a good regular season. We wish you the best of luck, you and the team, moving forward, and obviously the big game on Wednesday.
Okay, thank you.
All right, head coach, men's soccer head coach Graham Brown joining us on Monday Morning Coffee with the Coach. I'm your host, Walt Fowler, on the Spartans Sports Network.